Hey guys, I just came on here because I just got done watching Fatal Affair. I was gonna say Fatal Attraction, but yeah, y'all, the movie starring Omar Epps and Nia Long, and I saw it's been trending and everything. So yeah, that's what this is. This is my not really I guess a review of it. And y'all, this movie had me dying laughing. I'm sipping on my Truly, trying to stay low on the calories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl. Do my little sip. But I just want to say, I'm trying to keep myself together. I'm gonna try to say my piece on this movie. It was hilarious. Okay, I'm just gonna go over the rundown of the movie and how like I just had so many problems with the writing of the movie, and I really thought I was in for a treat watching this. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. And I didn't want to look at the memes or nothing, but I saw it was some little jokey jokes out there about it. But now I see why. Okay. So, the movie is about this married chick. She a lady. She a lawyer, and she's with her husband. They have a daughter who's away at college when the movie starts, and she's, I guess, about to transition to move to the suburbs or whatever, San Francisco, I think that's where it is, to a bomb ass house. And it starts with her just purchasing the house and they moving in, and then it shows her at the at her law firm, but she about to leave there and start her own law firm too. So she's just like at a very transitional period in her life, I guess. So we see her little life and everything with her husband, and what I've noticed immediately was how they showed her husband had a scar on his shoulder, and how he like went to bed real quick when they was going to bed. There wasn't no hug, kiss goodnight or nothing. I'm like, dang, and he just like knock out on some painkillers. At first I thought like he was addicted to painkillers because he had all these pills on top of his side of the bed. I'm like, dang, it take him all that to go to sleep. But I was like, I know it got to do with his scar. So from there, we see Nia Long's character, Ellie, at her office. And then she's about to go into a meeting. And then there's a new person in there who happens to be Omar Epps, who happens to be some dude she knows from college. So they going over and talking, and she's like, oh yeah, I know him. And then you could see it was a little some. And I was like, oh, did y'all used to date in college? Like, what's the extent of y'all relationship from college? And then he was just like super thirsty afterwards when they were done with the meeting. And then he was like, oh my God, he just kept saying how good she looked. I'm like, okay, dang, she look good, calm down. And he was like, we should go for drinks or whatever. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. So it was what it was. Then, she gives him her card. She's like, call me anytime. I'm like, call you anytime, girl. What? You is married. What she talking about some call me anytime? I'm like, okay, girl. So from there, she has this friend named Courtney or something. And her friend was asking her to go out for drinks. And she was like, oh, I don't want to go. The traffic, blah, blah, blah. But she was like, no, you got to do this. We're going to have a girls' night. Bow. And I guess that was scheduled for later on in the week. So I don't know, fast forward, and it comes to the day where she's supposed to be going and doing her ladies' night with her homegirl. She doesn't show up because she got to work, the Courtney girl, her friend. And, wait, I didn't mention that she ended up inviting, I guess his name David, Omar Epps' character, to go out with them as well. But Courtney can't make it at the last minute, so it's just her and him. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how this go. So he like, ooh, I guess I got you all to myself. And they go and they start drinking at this bar or whatever. Old people drink, just sipping on some wine and stuff, getting litty. And so they just start talking about stuff. And he, I forgot to mention, y'all, at the very beginning of the movie, it's a scene of this girl, and she doing it with her dude or whatnot. And then all of a sudden, they in this big ass house. She looking around for him. It gave me very much so Twa vibes. And she looking around for him, and she can't find him. The house dark as hell. I'm like, why the house so dark? I don't like big ass houses, y'all. They make me nervous because I always feel like somebody lurking around the corner or somebody just in the house. So I'm like that. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. My bad. But the beginning scene of the movie, and then all of a sudden she looking for her dude, and then she hear the water, and he dead in the bathtub, and then all of a sudden she gets snatched up, and I guess she dead too. But anyway, fast forward back to what I was talking about. Them in the bar talking, reminiscing about college or whatnot, and those people leave me alone. And my bad, something was on my phone. So she goes and she just starts kind of unloading to him, because talking about some, you know, she been married for 20 years, she has a beautiful daughter, and then he was like, oh yeah, I know your husband's got to still be attracted to you, blah 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 blah. She was like, yeah, but it seems like we've been married for 20 years, and it's just, I don't know how it happened, but it's like when I go to bed at night, I'm lying next to a stranger. I was like, damn, that's how you feel? It didn't seem like they had problems like that. Like, for you to be, for one, telling this man your business and you married. And it seemed like he's a little sketchy anyway. And I still just didn't know the extent of their relationship from college. So I'm like, why is she telling him? Like, maybe they was really, really cool. And she felt like she could tell him that. So he was like, yeah. So she asked him how were things with him. And he married kids. He was like, he is divorced or whatnot. And he ain't never had no kids. She's like, oh, okay, cool. So she was like, well, we got to get out of here, because if we drink any more here, then people gonna start talking. So they go out to some little club, because she's talking about some, she want to go back to 20 years ago. I'm like, girl, you was coming on kind of strong. And then when they got immediately to this other place, the first thing is her talking about stuff, how come me and you never dated? I'm like, girl, you sound thirsty. You are married. And if you that unhappy, say something. I mean, damn. But, and I'm like, why are you just jumping on him and saying this, like, how come we never dated? And then he was like, well, I guess you was just always dating the other guys, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, maybe I was just waiting for you to ask. Then he like, do you trust me? I'm like, this was just the textbook, just, y'all, like, I could have told you the whole movie without watching it. Like, everything, I could just tell, like, okay, who wrote this? Because come hit me with something original, please, because this was not it. So he like, do you trust me? And they start dancing to Send Me Forget Me Nots, blah blah blah. And then out of nowhere they get real close, and then she's like, oh, and she run away, and I think she leave, and she just go in the bathroom to wash her face off. And then he come into the bathroom, and then y'all, this must have been the stiffest makeout scene I've ever seen. Like, he rush up on her, and they don't even kiss right away. Like, he just grab her face, and then they start kissing. And there was like no real chemistry to me, like, for real. And then he like lifts her up onto the sink and stuff, and then start kissing on her neck, and she's like, and I'm like, this is so whack. I don't even believe this. Like, and then she's like, and then he started trying to whip it out and stuff, and then she's like, wait, I can't do this. And I'm like, and he took her panty drawers off too. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so from there, she like run off, and he like, wait, you know, don't leave and all this other stuff. And then she's like, no, it's a mistake, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, I gotta go. My car here, I gotta go. So that was that. So from there, she makes her transition over to her own office and her own law practice, like she was planning on doing originally anyway. And then, you know, homeboy, while this is all going on, it seems like it has like a little montage of her rekindling stuff back up with her husband and whatnot. And then her daughter comes home from college for the break, I guess, for Christmas break. I mean, shit, it's LA or San Francisco, whatever. It's always sunny, so I was having a hard time catching up with what time of the year it was, but she said she was home for Christmas break, I think. So yeah, y'all. So she come back, and Nia Long's character, she then rekindled back with the husband, and they all kissing and doing it, and then it shows off of how homeboy Omar Epps has been like straight up stalking and watching her this whole time, and then it shows this funny ass scene of him standing outside they house. Their house is really beautiful, but like I said, I don't like them big ass houses, and I definitely don't like them houses where people can see all up in your house and all up in your business. Because homeboy was looking, I mean, I know she lived kind of a far drive out, but anybody could pull up on your shit and just be looking all in your window on some creep. So that's exactly what he was doing. But y'all, imagining Omar Epps in this type of character was just like, ugh. This movie was like a combination of things. I kept thinking about, Sanaa Lathan and A Perfect Boyfriend. It was giving me those type of vibes. It was just giving me a whole bunch of different vibes. It was like a whole bunch of but a movie that, I don't know, it was just bad. I mean, the writing was bad. I'm sorry. I love Nia Long. Love Jones is my favorite movie. Omar Epps, he to hold me too. And big ups to them getting that Netflix check. But it was so poorly written. I mean, it really was. It was just hilarious because I was just laughing. It was poorly written and it was poorly acted out. I'm sorry, not sorry, but it was. Because, I mean, I wasn't about to believe or be afraid of no Omar Epps and how he was acting with her. Because he started calling her, calling. And then she wouldn't answer his phone. Then he started texting her on some crazy shit, talking about some, I can't stop thinking about the other night or the night at the club, blah, blah, blah. And then he ends up seeing her again one day by coincidence while she was walking off with her friend Courtney or whatnot. And then she was like, look, I'm sorry. He's talking about, I want to apologize. She's like, look, what happened, it should have never happened, blah, blah, blah. Just please, let's just dead this. So from there, because she blocked it. Oh, she blocked his number, I think. She blocked his number, I think, after that. Or whatnot. And then a little bit of time passed. This may not be in the best order, my bad, y'all. Ooh, excuse me. A little bit of time passed, and then her friend Courtney or whatnot talking about she coming for dinner, and she bringing her new boo. Who's the new boo? Homeboy. First of all, as soon as he walked up in the motherfucking house, I would have been like, oh, hell no. I would have just told on myself. I mean, honestly, girl, you've been married for 20 years. You can't just pause like, this nigga is crazy, okay? I would have been like, no. It would have been put to a stop right then and there. I'm like, this nigga is crazy, blah, blah, blah. You ain't gonna sit in my house and eat my food and drink up my liquor. No. So she was just trying to play it, and then she, so I guess he was started fucking with her friend or whatnot. So she don't say nothing, and then she tell him like, you need to stay away from me and my family, blah blah blah. He upset at me and my homegirl and all that stuff. And he like, well, I had to do something. You wouldn't call me back or whatnot. She said, I'm married, blah blah blah. Are you crazy? This, the same dialogue, blah blah blah. So from there, she go to look into him a little bit more because she's starting to realize like this nigga is a little bit off and unstable. So she's trying to figure out like some stuff about him. But he even says at dinner with her and her husband and her friend that he's a hacker, and law firms and stuff or whatnot, her law firm included, hired him to hack into people's shit unofficially, legal, not legal or whatnot. And then it showed him talking to his therapist and whatnot. So he in therapy and he's talking about some girl named Deborah or whatnot, and then he's telling his therapist about he met somebody new and she a lawyer too. So he was talking about Nia Long, so he's clearly delusional because she ain't dating that boy or whatnot. And it was just, y'all, it was stupid. It's like the storyline didn't make sense because I would have needed for this movie to make more sense to me for them to have a little bit of flirtation before they initially hung out or something, or like just more before like his whole crazy just popped off. At least maybe she slept with him for real or something. Like maybe if he would have smashed for real. But I'm like, dang, y'all didn't sleep together back in the day. Yeah, y'all didn't sleep together when y'all hooked up in the bathroom. It was just a look at, he didn't even see a nip, a slip, nothing. He didn't even get halfway to tip in. So he that crazy over just nothing, just some college memories? Okay, whatever. I know people be crazy and obsessive over less, but I'm just saying, really, now how come he didn't stalk her from before? If he was so, oh my God, like it was just hard to believe, Then, what else? So fast forward, y'all, because it wasn't much to be like. It was like a lot of parts in the movie that I didn't feel were needed. But I think like the build up of them like establishing some type of like obsession, real obsession for him him to be like that obsessed with her, but I mean, I guess they're just backing off, or at least a scene from college or something, to just let me believe that this was that, you know. So, you know, he starts stalking her and whatnot. And what he ended up doing first, after sleeping with the friend, she don't say, she tried to contact her friend or whatnot, tell her friend the truth about what was going on, but her friend never called her back. And then what he did was flip the script and say that she was the one that came on to him. And then he's a hacker, remember? So all the messages that he was sending her, he flipped it and said, like, and showed it like she had sent those to him. And then the so-called her friend gonna sit there and believe everything this homeboy told her. What the fuck? How you not gonna believe your homegirl and believe this nigga you just met? Like, you literally just met this dude, and it was already shady. Like, if it were to me, I'm like, you know what? I don't know who lying or what, you know, and she know he a hacker. I'm like, you know what? I'm just not fucking with you, homie. I'm like, is she that desperate? I mean, I know she probably like in her 30s or something, but she that thirsty for a man, and she's just gonna believe anything this nigga say just because this is in a text message. You know how you could ghost and make somebody send a message and he a hacker? Girl, you sound dumb. And this your friend. How long have you known her that you won't believe anything that she say? And then when she do believe, by the time she do believe, her dumb ass get knocked upside the head because he in the house with her or whatnot. And then Nia Long, because Nia Long broke into his, not broke in, this is another problem I have with this damn movie. When she started following Omar Epps and trying to investigate who he really was, she couldn't find nothing initially because he's a hacker, so he covered his tracks. So she went back to one of her old college friends, and her old college friend told her, like, hey, you know, homeboy, you know, he used to be obsessed with you, or he like really was into you. She's like, really? I never paid attention. And he was like, yeah, you know. And then she's like, it's just unfortunate what happened with his wife and what Deborah and whatnot. She's like, what happened to her? Oh, she's dead. Because she's like, because she said she wanted to talk to his wife, ex-wife. I'm like, oh, she did. It was a home invasion, blah 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 blah. And then she was like, was he implicated in the murder? She's like, no, he was a drug dealer. It was money all over the place in the. And I was like, I didn't see none of that in the first scene, but okay. So from there, she started to be suspicious. Like, oh hell no, this dude done killed his wife and got away with it. Then from there, when she finally goes to his apartment and she's stalking him, she go into his building lobby. Now, I had a problem with this too. Talking about some, oh, you made to the person that's in the front at the lobby. And now this look like a nice ass building. I don't care how nice the building is though. Tell the girl, homegirl, talking about some, oh, I was here with David Hammond or whatever his name is, Omar Epps' character this morning, and I left some things inside. Can I get the key? And she's talking about some, it's okay, here, it happens. You know, we all have mornings like that. And I'm like, bitch, who you giving keys to? You don't know this woman from a can of paint. You just giving keys out, residence keys. Girl, you were about to lose your job. I'd make sure she got fired. You giving keys out, like, what? Are you serious? She's sitting here giving the keys out to Nia Long so she can go in this man's apartment. In what world, in what building? Are they, is she black? Not trying to be like that person, but really though, I know it's just to go with the flow of the movie, but y'all could have wrote that better. Whoever wrote this. Anyway, from there, she go in there and then she find his little secret room with all his you know, shrine and stuff, because he got cameras all around her house and everything. And then she saw the in his laptop the photos of his wife and ex-wife and her man and her husband and all this shit. Meanwhile, his password was her maiden name, really though. He's a hacker. It's just so easy to get into his house. He ain't got no cameras in his house either. He just that secure with it. His house looked real lonely too. But I'm like, this is just so unbelievable. I know it was just for shits and giggles. This ain't no big Netflix premiere, but I expected a little more. So from there, so she found out he's super crazy. She sends to her little friend Claudia or Courtney, whatever. And she was like, and then she tried to tell her, like, I think he killed his wife. Girl, you a danger, girl. Stay the fuck away from him. And then she was like, oh, how do you know this? Blah, blah. She's like, because I went to his apartment or whatnot. So then while she was talking to homegirl Nia Long, homeboy was coming to her house because they had like a dinner date. And then in between that, there was another scene that I had a problem with. I'm sorry, y'all, but keep pausing because stuff coming back in my mind. Because when he broke into Nia Long's house, in that big ass house, and then stole her drawers or like lingerie and stuff, and then was like this close. I ain't never understand how somebody breaking into somebody's house, for one. I understand how he can hack into the system, but for two, he was this close to her while her and her husband was asleep. I'm like, what kind of drugs y'all taking at night to go to bed that you ain't gonna anybody come and open the door in my room or anybody come that close to my face? I'm popping up. Are you serious? I'm like, they must be on some Ambience or something to help them stay sound. Or that stuff Michael Jackson was taking or something to stay that damn sleep. Really? So I had a problem with that. Anyway, jump back to the girlfriend, her friend, and Omar Epps in her apartment, because she finally look at homeboy's phone, and pictures of Nia Long is all on him, and she's like, why you got pictures of her? And he's like, oh, it's because when she was leaving the firm asked me to tie up loose ends because she left so abruptly. I'm like, I don't think she left abruptly. And then homegirl was like, oh, okay, well, I think I need to go get some air. She was just real stupid with it. Girl, you gotta be more slick and more careful. Then he busted her upside. I thought he was gonna kill her, but he just knocked her out. And Nia Long, his character, runs, trying to go save her homegirl. And once she get there, she on the floor knocked out. And then the police get involved. My whole thing is, why hadn't she already told her husband way before this? As soon as I found out this nigga could have possibly killed his wife, I would have been told my husband. I would have told my husband before that, y'all been married for 20 years. You can't tell him that you almost slipped up this one good time. I mean, she sure wasn't loyal. Looked like it seemed like Tyrone, the janitor, could have got up on that because of how fast she just slipped up on her husband. You could see the man had been through some things, and you couldn't have stuck with him, because as soon as that happened, after they got through that tough patch, they was cool. So I'm like, damn, girl, all you had to do was hold on for a little bit longer. Like, whatever. Anyway, so let me get back to so after found out about that, so homeboy, the police was on his ass. So what he ended up doing is faking his own suicide, leaving a note and everything, and then he admitted to killing his wife too, ex-wife. And I'm like, why he admitting crimes that they didn't even have him on and whatnot? But he actually just set fire to a homeless man. R.I.P. the homeless dude. He ain't do nothing or whatnot. And then they were like, well, it's gonna take a while to get his DNA and dental records, but we're pretty much sure it's him because his handwriting, blah blah blah. So then, I don't know, some time passes, and then it's like Thanksgiving and shit. And he gets Nia Long's character gets a message saying that she's needed at the office, and it's late. It's like the night before Thanksgiving and whatnot. And she goes to the office, stumbles upon, and nobody. It's all dark in her office and shit. Her assistant is the one who supposedly texted her saying that she needs to come in and sign some documentation. I'm like, she couldn't have faxed that shit to you, and you signed it and faxed that shit back, or with some courier stuff that actually needed the actual signature. I don't know. But it's the day before Thanksgiving. I ain't leaving my house like that. Girl, you should have told me before. But anyway, so by the time she get there, her office dark, she trip on something, it's her assistant, she dead. So then Nia Long is like, then he calls Nia Long's character on, and the phone number says the assistant's number. And then he talking about, oh, you left them alone. Them meaning her family. So, sorry, I gotta jump back again. When Nia Long was stalking him and following him, she finds out that he went and sat there and went and invited her husband to golf and played golf with him. For one, in what world does like her husband not mention that in conversation? Like, oh, remember homeboy, I'm about to go golfing with him. I don't know, communication, y'all. I mean, not that you got to tell your spouse everything, but that's a little bit weird that he wouldn't have mentioned it before, like mentioned it to her, like, oh honey, I'm gonna be out golfing with Courtney new boo or something, because that's her friend or whatever. It's not one of his homeboys, it's her friend's man. So y'all, it was just poorly written. Anyway, fast forward to the end. Sorry y'all. This movie just had me down laughing. I was laughing so much because it was just really hard to place Omar Epps as like the villain or whatnot, or as an obsessive crazy man or whatnot. It was just like the acting, and when he would try to get big or tough or something, was like, really? And he just sounded, the writing of it was just like, really though. So yeah, Nia Long is rushing home to try to save her family. And I'm like, damn, it's three of them. They can't just take on homeboy. They should be fine by the time she get there. Apparently not. So, because she get to her house and she click on the light, then that part reminded me, being on the porch, like, bound and gag and shit, reminded me of Scary Movie and shit. And looked like little homeboy, the daughter's little boyfriend is dead, or at least beat down or something. So I'm like, why he do that to him? That boy didn't do nothing to nobody. Why won't you harm her family? That wouldn't have nothing to do with it. So she going around looking for her husband and daughter in her big ass house. And he's there, and then he playing that same song, Send Me Forgive Me Not. So he sent her the album and everything too from before. And he started talking about college because he can't let that shit go apparently. And he's talking about I did this for you and blah 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 blah. And then she said, where's my husband? Where's my daughter? I was like, if y'all go. So yeah. So she tried to run up on him. Didn't work, but then she broke up out of him, away from him, because he grabbed her, and then she knocked him over the head with a vase. I'm like, girl, you better get to stabbing or like beating down or something. I'm sorry, I don't believe in people. This is why bad people always come back in movies. I know it's for the suspense and the whatnot of the movie, but I'm sorry, if you done already killed my assistant, I know you done killed your wife and her man. I'm about to get to slicing and dicing. I'm gonna make sure your ass, I'm gonna kill you. I'm sorry. You done broke in my house, and I don't know at this point if you done murdered my family. I'm about to go in. And she just hit him upside the head and then left to go look for her family. I'm like, okay, girl. And then he done killed the little boy who was on the porch and stuff, the little boyfriend. I'm like, he done killed at least about 3. Well, he done for sure killed 2 people that you know of. Well, 3, because that homeless man too. So I'm like, girl, you sitting here, really? So she found her husband and daughter. They bound and gagged in the bedroom. So she's like, let's go, let's get out of here. And then she did call the detective and said send people to her house when she was on her way too. But they sent 1 squad car with 1 fucking cop in it. I'm like, really? You know this nigga he done faked his own death and admitted to killing his wife and some other people. I'm like, but you gonna send 1 cop car with 1 cop in it? Okay. So then once they got upstairs and looked at the cop car, little homie dead. I'm like, dang. So that was that. And I'm like, he must have not been that prepared. I'm like, did y'all let him know that he was running up on a situation where it was somebody crazy and murdering? I don't know. But yeah. So from there, I didn't get this part again too, because they see that the cop dead, Nia Long and family. So they run up. The husband tell, and then I'm like, huh? I mean, I know the husband probably had that, because he said it was a motorcycle accident. I know he had that injury, but he was able to bind and gag you, your daughter, and you. I'm like, really? And whoop y'all ass? I mean, I'm just saying. But Nia Long was able to take him on her own. I mean, I'm sure because he wasn't trying to hurt her, but really? Anyway. So what I don't get is how the husband tells her to go try to call for help in the cop car, and he sends the daughter to her car and tells her to go. I'm like, oh hell no, we all getting in the car and driving the fuck away. I'm like, wouldn't that be more made sense? So the daughter gets in the car and drives off. Who knows where? I don't know where she went. Hopefully to get help. And then they running all over the beach and shit, trying to run away from homeboy. And then I guess he catch up to them, and I don't know if the husband dipped off to the side, because all of a sudden Omar Epps and Nia Long are, face to face. And I'm like, damn, where her husband go? Did he like dip on her or what? And then he was just like, see, your husband still isn't here for you even in this time. And I'm like, damn. But it turns out, I guess maybe he was hiding in the bushes. I don't know, y'all, because he jumped out of nowhere and jump on him. And then Omar Epps still whoop his ass. I'm like, god damn. So then Nia Long had to come again and save her husband. And then there was another scene where he was whooping his ass too. I'm like, dang, he like flipped him over on his back, and I know he had the injury, but I'm like, dang, how long has it been? But So from there, he tussling with the husband. Nia Long had to save him again, and she started beating him with a big thing. I'm like, girl, beat him until he don't move no more. Like, just beat him. And I'm like, I don't know, y'all be playing too much, because then dude can't, because she went to go try to help her husband, and then he pop his happy ass, popped again, and then tried to grab on, and then Omar Epps is falling off the cliff, and he holding on. First, I thought her husband was holding on to Omar Epps, and they was hanging on from the cliff together or something. I don't know, but it was only Omar Epps hanging on to the cliff, and he was hanging on to Nia Long, and the husband was hanging on to Nia Long. And then Nia Long talking about some, David, don't let go, I got you. I'm like, what you trying to say to this nigga? I'm like, he was about to kill your family. He done killed all these people. Why are you still trying to save him? Y'all, I was over it. But I'm still like, you know, I was still glad to see them on camera and stuff. It's been a while since I seen them or whatnot, you know, Nia Long on my apps and whatnot, and they getting their Netflix on. Netflix is just, you know, making movies for everybody, which is great. And it's an all black cast mostly. That was nice too. But y'all, this was giving me very much so like Lifetime, very much so like Twa or a Tyler Perry type movie slash The Perfect Boyfriend slash, it was giving me a lot of different vibes. But I like The Perfect Boyfriend. It was written better. This wasn't written that well. But anyway, end of the movie, Omar Epps, you know, ends up falling down and dying and shit. And then it jumps to 2 months later, and it shows the daughter going away to college. I'm like, they could have cut that out the movie. Like, why do we need to see that shit? And I'm just like, I feel like the screenplay or the writing wasn't really developed. Believing that all this would go down was just really unbelievable, you know. But anyway, y'all, that was it. That was just my little Sunday movie that I watched on Netflix. I ain't watched a little new movie in a bit. But yeah, and those were my thoughts. I hope everybody's having a good old Sunday, having a good old Sunday dinner, just having good times. I will see everybody later this week. Yeah, hope everybody's being safe. It's hotter than that thing, Chicago. Hope everybody's staying cool. If it's real hot like it is, it's like 100 and some degrees in Chicago. Y'all, it's a lot. Hope everybody's doing well. And that was my review. Love you, love you, love you. Peace. Bye.